Well. It looks like I've got the graphical user interface caught up to where I wanted it to get to. It's basically just handling the project structure, the folders, and the file, and where the files save to, and all of that right now. But I got it up to the point that I was ready to put it on GitHub. Which I guess I can take a look at that real quick. So got got it loaded on GitHub. I came up with the name and drew up a quick logo. Yeah, so the code's on here. I'll link to it in the description if you want to take a look at that. But right now, it mostly just handles the project structure. Let's see, where can we start at? So there's a script editor. So under File, you can create a new script and give it some sort of name, test script. And this is, I use WX Python for putting the graphical user interface together. So this is basically the default Python editor from there. And same thing with the interpreter down here. It just runs from whatever interpreter it's going on. So I launched it from Spyder, so it uses IPython. But if I would have launched it normally, it would have had the regular interpreter with the 3 angle brackets. But just something we can write, put some scripts together, print an example here. I think if you're watching this video, you're probably familiar with how an interpreter works, but a place to write the scripts. And what's in particular, the thing about it is it's project specific. So the save button here, if I try to save this, I'll get a message saying that I have to open a project. So that's also available. So over here, I can create a new project, give it some sort of name, call it testing. I'll just do a 3D one. And yeah, I have to choose a directory. Little messages pop up over in the side if a part of that's missing. I'll just stick something in the delete folder, which I apparently already out testing. That's different than the one that's there. Go ahead and create that project, and it opens up this, and let's see. I decided to go with an XML style manifest. That's easy to parse through, goes right into the tree view. Keep track of all the resources that are in those folders. Have all the standard editing things so we can repanel those, move them around, adjust it, drag the tabs back and forth. And all that stuff comes default. This hasn't really been changed from the default. Now I can save the script. And I'll close it. I don't have, the manifest doesn't update on that yet. It will soon. It'll run the game, which is still in the initial state where whenever the run button is hit, it calls that game writer object and opens, and then runs that. Oh, and by the way, it runs in a system terminal, not in the console. This is just for testing, line by line testing. You'd have to use the whole execute, open, whatever script you want to open, and open it that way from an interpreter. The standard way to open it from an interpreter if you want to do that. The run button opens in the system terminal. Oh, there it is. So the run button has an update on the manifest, update on the view of the manifest. The manifest was updated. It just didn't update the view yet. And you can get right back to that script. And notice there was no dialogue when I did that. It's a project specific thing. So the saving the script button only saves to the scripts folder. And likewise, you'll notice there's no open script button. There's a new script, but no open script. Scripts can only be opened from over here. Here's the one it wrote. That original thing we did in the first or second video, Game Writer puts that together, which just starts the engine. It just brings that in, creates a subclass, and then calls the run method from that engine. So right now, everything still has to be done here. Coming up soon, there'll be some steps here, but as you can see right now, it's just most of the rest of the interface is just notes to myself about things to do. But a place to do the scripting and it organizes it all nicely into this package. You can open other projects. So I can say open. Well, there's open this another project, and to open it, even though there's other files here, the only one that shows is the XML. So it opens from the manifest, and then well, that's still a 3D game. I thought that was a 2D one. But yeah, then descriptions of what goes in the folder and just some basic file management things really is what's going on now. That way the project, you can be sure that all the scripts and images and everything for the project will be organized in nicely organized into a structure that the automatic write the game scripts will be able to handle without problems. So that's the next step. We'll get back to those soon. And I did have what it is now up on GitHub. Yeah, I decided to call it 3P Games for Python, Pygame, and Panda 3D. Then drew up a quick logo. And yeah, improvements will be coming to the thing on GitHub. Still be making some improvements, but the next step is now that there's a folder and just a directory structure that is going to be very rigid, stay the same every game that gets created, it'll make it a whole lot easier to write that game writer object because it's going to know exactly where every single thing is. Scripts will only be saved in the script folder, and assets will only be saved in the asset folder. So that way, the game writer object will be able to find them quite easily. So in the next video, we'll get back to that game writer object with the logic that we've already tested and bringing those things in to automatically be written. And then this also, once all the automatic writing is done, we can still go in here and do the scripting manually. So I guess at this point it does work for that. You can get the start up and then just script it manually, save it, and run it again. But I will see you in the next video as we make improvements on this part that gets automatically written.